And a very good and happy new year. It's just time for Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, General Manager at WEIU. In his last semester here, my co-host, Tristan Thomas.
Yeah, it's crazy you're saying my last semester. It doesn't feel real yet, you know.
And City Manager of Charleston, Illinois, Mr. Scott Smith is here.
Good afternoon, fellas.
Well, thank you for coming in, and we were hoping to have Dr. Brandon Combs here today, but he couldn't make it. We'll get him next time for sure. Well, Scott, since we're starting the new year, is there, I guess we'll maybe anything you want to talk about 21 to recap, or do you just want to go right into 22 and talk about the City of Charleston's game plan?
Well, I think 21 was a real successful year in some really uncharted waters. I think we talked about that off air a little bit. Things were a little unique and different because of COVID, and certainly placed some unique pressures on our team administratively and in the field as we continue to try to get work done. And I think our team managed it fairly well, and we continued to work hard, a lot of work done, sidewalks and the project out at Sister City, and finished up a lot of the work at the lake, and again, really successful, I think, and kudos to our team and all of our administrative folks in all areas, all departments, in some really difficult and challenging times.
We were talking off here a little bit, the three of us, about that we were really hoping in 2022 that we wouldn't be wearing masks, and maybe you can make plans without masking. But I mean, I take it the city is going to continue with what we're doing right now with masking and all the same kind of rules and ordinances?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
When you think about 2022, and we always ask this, but what are the city's plans? What are some of the major jobs that you want to get done, and some of the projects that we have lined up?
So we're wrapping up our RLF sidewalk project, which was a grant project for a couple of years now, and the last little finger I think we finished up was over by the credit union, the former credit union facility by Arby's, and we got a little section to do here over by the EAUPD yet to complete, but that's been a real successful project where we've again went in and tore out and replaced some dilapidated sidewalks in some key areas in the town. And of course, our goal has always been to get you at least one good sidewalk in each section of town. And in a lot of streets, there's sidewalks on both sides, but the goal is to get one passable, nice, safe, ADA accessible sidewalk in every area we're in town. And so we've been working hard on that, and we'll continue to do that in 22. But a lot of progress, obviously, in 20 and 21 on sidewalk work. So we're really pleased with that, and more to come. But again, a lot done in the last couple years. We did a lot of work at the lake again in 21, and wrapped up that whole area over in Dam A, and the new boat ramp, the launch, the canoe launch. We're doing some improvements to the dock system that's out there now. We finished up some of the overhead lighting on the street and get everything striped, and so we're really, really proud of that. And
it's picturesque.
Yeah, the community.
If you back up, if you ever want to just take a break or eat your lunch, back into those spots and look out, it's unbelievable how good.
And before, you couldn't really see that because of that retaining wall that was there, but now you've got that really nice overlook, and then we've got the benches and the boardwalk down there on the lake. So it's just beautiful, and even in temperatures like today, I still think you'd be hard pressed to go out there and not find people parking and eating their lunch, or people walking their dogs, or out on the trails, or riding bikes, or whatever. They're still out there in high numbers. I mean, I was out over the weekend. There was still a lot of cars, and a lot of cars, quite frankly, you see typically on the weekends, out-of-state vehicles coming over from Indiana and Missouri, and from everywhere. So that's exciting news for us. And then once we get a little bit further along in this development out at Sister City Phase 2, and in competition or in concert with Phase 1, there'll be a walking path out there too, which will be great for families with strollers and kids with little bikes and things of that nature. There's going to be a lot of walking areas there that will connect up to the trail system that'll provide for additional places for people to go and walk and enjoy themselves and just be outdoors. So we're excited about that.
There you go.
Yeah, you mentioned some of those developments out at Lake Charleston. What are some of the other developments in the works right now?
So out there, we're fairly wrapped up out there. I mean, we've got a few more things we'd like to do, but I would say out at the lake right now, we've accomplished a majority of the things that we had planned to do. We're going to do a little more work up in Lakeview Park, which is up on top by the water plant, at some point in the future. We'd like to spruce that up and ultimately at some point allow vehicular traffic back up into the park. But that'll require some improvements to the road and parking up top, and some additional work that'll need to be done there. But that is kind of in a long-range plan for us. We've got some additional work down around the floating bridge that connects you from over on the lake over to the south side, that trail that wraps there that comes back to the Alex Russell Pier. We're going to do some work on that. There's some other areas in the trails that we're doing some work on the north side. So there's still work to be done out there, but not of the grand scale like, what we've been doing the last 4 or 5 years. And then our focus will be primarily to continue working on Sister City Phase 2, which is the soccer outdoor athletic open recreation site. We've got parking and streets and roads. Guys are out there doing infrastructure work now, utility work, storm water, all that, electrical. We hope to get underway with the construction of a new maintenance facility out there in 22, and also begin construction of a concession shared space for soccer and their related activities. And then we're already working with some collaborations with the school district and others on hosting, because you got to be a couple years in advance to schedule tournaments, but working with the Charleston High School athletic director, Steve Pamprin's working closely with those folks on scheduling and bringing back what used to be the boys and girls red and gold tournaments.
Okay.
So we're really excited about that. And just thrilled to be partnering with the school district to hopefully bring those tournaments back, which will be great for Charleston. Our businesses will benefit from that, hotel stays, all those things. So we're excited about that.
And you have beach volleyball too from EIU.
Yeah, we're talking about beach volleyball at that site as well.
I don't know if that schedule has started yet. Are they worked on that or not?
Steve's working with the university officials here on that right now, and Brian Jones and those folks on that. So we're excited about some collaborations with EIU on that too.
That'd be kind of cool.
Very cool.
When you think about how Charleston is becoming this destination point for biking and hiking and fishing or whatever, is there other things out there that you can do long term that you're thinking about? We could do this in 3 or 4 or 5 years. Or is there, what other things are other people doing that you can maybe emulate?
Yeah, I mean, there's a very active birding group. I mean, you've seen it on the website. My son-in-law's father takes a lot of pictures of the lake and posts those on Facebook. Ron Bradley's pretty active out there. There's quite a few folks that, we've had nesting eagles and all kinds of different birds out there. It's incredible. So there's all kinds of activities out there. There's bird watching, there's boating, there's fishing, there's canoeing, kayaking, all that stuff.
Are jet skis allowed?
No jet skis, no motorized jet skis. Yeah, you can. And you can have boats with motors, but it's a no wake lake area. So, but there's a lot of activities going on out there. We would like to engage in some more scheduled routine walks or runs or things of that nature, but we didn't want to do that while we were under construction, So the pavilion out there is the most heavily used pavilion we have in our system now, and it's booked up almost every weekend, sometimes 3 or 4 times on a weekend for birthday parties and reunions and weddings and you name it. So we're excited about that. We knew it would be. With the adjacent playground, it's perfect for families. So we're excited about that. So there's been a lot of interest in that site. And again, tying that area in with the Woodyard Park, the Woodyard Conservation Park area, and then up to Sister City is going to be critically important as we phase all 3 of those areas in together. And combining all those trails and walking paths and everything together is kind of the plan. And of course, the collaboration, like you said, on the biking, all the way to Mattoon and the work with Eastern and everything we're doing to make that more of a destination for people.
Yeah, so what are you seeing from the local businesses in Charleston? How are they doing financially? I know with COVID and the shutdown since then, how are they kind of getting back to some sort of normal?
Well, I can't speak regarding businesses financially, but I mean, it's pretty obvious in talking with folks in the business community, and I think the Chamber might be better suited to answer that. But I would say that, we've worked very hard, the mayor, the city council, and our staff, along with the Chamber and others, to support and prop up our businesses and providing opportunities for them to continue to stay open, with making modifications to allow outdoor dining and a lot of things that we've done. There's been some, modifications to liquor and things to keep the restaurants and their doors open, and quite a few of them have done very, very well, I think. In handling that and managing that, it's very challenging, as you know. So kudos to all of those folks that have worked very hard to keep their doors open. So the challenges still exist, obviously. We've lost a few businesses, of course, I'm sure, due to COVID, as have most in the area. But by and large, I think our business community has has weathered the storm pretty well and done as well as they can, and I'm proud of them. I think our community has rallied behind the local businesses, and when and if possible, they're supporting them. They're getting takeout. There's, I talk to a lot of people that maybe aren't comfortable eating in an establishment, but they'll call and get takeout. You see DoorDash in every single restaurant, it seems like, and some of the other delivery services that are out there. That's just one, and a handful of them that anytime I'm out dining somewhere, I see them coming in and picking up food. So I think that helps too. Where maybe they didn't provide delivery service, you can get that. The drive-throughs at a lot of these places have kept their doors open where maybe they couldn't have the dining room open, but they've been able to continue to serve through drive-through. So I think our business community has really stepped up and done everything they could where possible to keep their doors open. So again, we've still got challenges, as we know. And, if you're watching the county website and the daily ticker as far as COVID positive results is challenging. But I have to say, like I said, I think our business community has really done all they can.
How concerned are you that with the uptick in COVID and this new variant and the fact that, we had influenza A back in the area, it seems like big time, that we just aren't, we really thought we were making headway prior to the holidays, but the holidays really, we got hit hard here.
Well, I think we're all concerned. It's pretty obvious that the numbers is a pretty significant uptick, especially last week when you were watching it.
Oh, yeah.
250 one day, 300 some the next, it seemed like. So quite a few cases, got punched in last week. So that's very concerning. We've had our own bouts with it at the city. So, we had a staff meeting this morning starting to have discussions about how we can take some additional steps and precautions and do what we can to try to keep our own team safe. So, regardless of this latest variant may or may not be as bad as the first one or two, still no, we don't want anybody sick. I don't care if it's for a half hour or 3 days or 2 weeks or whatever. We don't want to see anybody sick, and we certainly don't want to see anybody in the hospital or pass from this. And I know several people that have passed from it, friends of mine, family, that type of thing. So that's tough. So I am concerned. I think we all are. And we got to do what we can to keep everybody safe. And again, I think for the most part, our community's rallied around and done what they could to keep their customers and consumers and people safe. The school district, everybody that we work collaboratively with, obviously the university. So we all have challenges.
Yeah.
And like you said, it would have been nice to be sitting here without a mask on, and here we sit with a mask on. So I don't have all the answers, Jeff, but
come on, you need to have.
We're going to do what we can.
Tristan asked, about how businesses were doing, but what about on the other side? What about have you heard any rumors of people looking to come to Charleston, or businesses that are soon to open or move?
So we're continuing.
About there?
We're continuing to have conversations with a couple of retailers, not retailers, but I just throw everybody in that bucket, restaurants and in that bucket. But we're continuing to have conversations on a couple of developments, which is very positive, even in some very challenging times. So I'm excited about that. And again, expansion and growth at a couple industrial locations, and working with Kohl's together on that. So we're excited about opportunities. And again, I wish things were better, and I think they will be eventually. That will give even more opportunities for us to grow and move forward. So, but again, during some really, really challenging times, the phone continues to ring. We're having discussions. We're seeing some buildings go up right now. So that's exciting.
Yeah, what's it been like for you personally with your job, kind of navigating these uncertain times where it seems like, what the precautions should be from time to time have evolved, seemingly keep changing. What has that been like from your job?
Well, I mean, from my desk, it certainly hasn't been easy, but, I'm somewhat isolated in my office. I can close my door and that's all fine and dandy for me. But I would say for our staff and folks that are managing, say, the police and fire departments and public works, it's been challenging. Those guys and gals that run those areas, have quite a few people that report directly to them or supervisors directly below them. And anytime you imagine 40, 50 people, especially in an operation that runs 24/7, like in the fire and police departments, that's tough. So like Jeff said, we kind of hoped we'd be out of it, but, We're like a lot of people, we're getting our little hits and dings here and there. We get around 3 or 4 people with it, and it creates some challenges for it, especially in emergency services areas where
you need
people, and it can create a strain, real quickly. So, don't have all the answers, but again, I have to. I have to go back to our team and how hard they've worked to manage this and do the best they can for their team and for our community, and I think they've done exceptionally well.
I like to go on what Tristan said, maybe one next level, I guess you'd say. We're coming up on 2 years of COVID in March. As a financial guy that you are for the city of Charleston, as you look back now for 2 years, I mean, has Charleston done all right financially during this COVID crisis? Have you broke even? How would you kind of look at 2 years of COVID?
I would say we've weathered the storm the best we can. There isn't a perfect science in uncertain times like this. I mean, we've had to delay some projects, obviously, and anytime you delay some projects, that creates some ways to balance the books on the other side of the table. But I think we've weathered the storm the best we can. And again, we were pretty optimistic that we'd roll out into 22 and 23 and maybe things would be a little bit better. But as we roll into the budget cycle for 22, 23, we're having to revisit some things. There's a little pressure on the fuel market, some other things that will obviously, add some additional costs for us that maybe we didn't anticipate. So we're in that process right now. I haven't sat down with the staff yet, but those are some things we're starting to look at, is supply chain issues and just the cost of goods and services for construction, you name it.
Lumber went crazy.
Lumber, everything is, and so all those things play a role. And when we start punching the numbers together to put our budget together, that'll go to council in April. So our team's working on that right now, and some things may have to wait. That's just part of it.
Life during COVID, right?
Yeah.
What about jobs? Are there any city jobs, or do you need people anywhere?
So we're always looking for people. A lot of times, we're looking for people in part-time positions, especially like with the rec department and things like that. We'll always have openings in other areas, public works, police, fire, and those vacancies are always posted in and on our website. So I always refer people to that. There's a particular process for police and fire employees and certain requirements they have to have and testing procedures in place. We've had a couple openings in public works, may even still have one now, and those positions are always available on our website, and I always encourage people that are interested to go out and check it out and continue to check it out and see what's available. So,
okay.
A big local event from this past year was pretty normal, the Coles County Clash, with more fans back this year. What was that like to see a big local event like that happen?
So that was great for the community, and unfortunately I wasn't able to go this year, and I think it's the first one I've missed. But I know
Mattoon won, in case you're wondering.
I was waiting on that, Jeff. I reminded you.
I didn't even tell Tristan to ask that question.
Yeah.
I reminded you off air about the gymnasium I sat in on Friday night.
Yeah, Charleston won that.
Yeah, it felt pretty good.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, it was great to see the community come together and participate in an event like that. That's so good for Coles County. It's so good for the two schools. And Jeff will tell you, I mean, growing up, Jeff and I are the same age. He went to Mattoon, I went to Charleston, so we've known each other since we were kids. And it's so funny as adults, we can be in the parking lot hanging out together, and then when you were a kid, you wouldn't talk to one another. It's crazy, and of course we've got kids playing sports and all that, and so it's fun. It's a great atmosphere. I mean, Mattoon wants to win, Charleston wants to win, but at the end of the day, it's all about coming together and having a good time. The banks and everybody support it, and seeing people there was great.
Yeah, it was good. It was really fun. It was just to see that many people. Because you didn't know people would come back.
Right.
I thought just the average fan. You knew the parents of the cheerleaders.
Right, absolutely. And Red, White, and Blue Days. I guess that was kind of really the first tiptoe in the water, really, with a major event. I think around here we went ahead with that and had a pretty good showing, and we were pleased with the results of that. So. But yeah, both of those events are things that I can think of right off the top of my head that we were glad to see return, and I think the community was very, very happy and embraced both of those.
Since we last had you on, Doug Abel has been named the Charleston Chamber of Commerce Director. Doug's a Charleston guy and been a Charleston businessman forever. Your thoughts on Doug?
So I've known Doug for a long time in his role with Consolidated Communications, and have known Doug personally, and and excited to have Doug on as a member of the Charleston Chamber Board of Directors. I know we were thrilled to bring Doug on board, and there's been a strategic planning process that Doug's been a participant in, and the board's worked through. And so, the chamber has suffered through COVID like a lot of organizations, and it's been challenging on the chamber, especially with the transition of staff and team members in and around the office. But we're excited to go forward. I think Doug's going to do a great job, and again, Doug lives here in town and spent many, many years working for Consolidated. He knows a lot of people. He knows a lot of folks in the business community, and I think will represent the chamber well.
Where are we at in the election cycle on the?
So the mayor and a couple council members were just elected in the spring.
Yeah.
So we won't have another election until spring of 23.
Okay. There you go. And then next city council meeting, anything?
So the next city council meeting will be next Tuesday night.
Any big agenda items that
We just had our staff meeting this morning, and as I think back, nothing major next Tuesday. No.
Assuming that COVID does decline a little bit, are there any major projects that you're looking at? Maybe not 2022, as you look at 23, 24, that you would love to have the city do, or for the and things like that.
Well, I think there's some things obviously out at Sister City Phase 2 that might or could get held up just a little bit, that we might be able to move up into the schedule a bit. Ultimately, and I don't think it's a secret to anybody, ultimately we'd like to have a facility out there similar to what they have in the Mattoon YMCA. So, and that's kind of what that property up in that northwest corner of that site is carved out for. So, I suspect that we'll finish up these first 2 or 3 phases of Sister City development, Phase 2, and then we'll begin having some discussions about, where we go next phase. So.
Okay.
We've seen of course, in Mattoon, the sports complex plans in the works. Is that something for Charleston you're looking at kind of positively, or is it more, obviously it's in Mattoon, but is that something you're looking at positively for growth in Charleston?
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously it's going to have an impact on, hotel stays and restaurants and things of that nature. And we've had some discussions with Kyle and the folks at Rural King regarding some collaborations. I mean, especially if they have some larger tournaments, there may be a need or a requirement for them to have some off-site locations. If you travel to, say, Rantoul and some of these other areas, sometimes they'll collaborate with some neighboring communities where they might have too many teams to be able to even host them all at one site. So they might use, say, Charleston as a site. We've got a lot of facilities here. So there are some opportunities for collaboration, but we haven't gotten too deep in those discussions yet.
And I think the next Mattoon City Council meeting, when we had Rick on, they said that will be a real big decision maker on kind of that thing is going to fully, go 100% go ahead here. And so I think we're going to know a lot more within this month a little bit. What about like city employees? I know at Eastern we have rules, the students have rules about your testing and COVID.
We're following CDC and the rules and regs that are required.
Okay.
Of course, we're waiting on the Supreme Court ruling with respect to employers of 100 or greater. So we're affected and impacted by that. So there's certain procedures that have to start and commence this week, and then certain testing procedures we have to follow. So we're just following the rules and regs like everyone else.
Tough question to ask here at the end of the year, but as you look back on 2021, did you look at the Charleston crime as being average, below, up, or I know it's one of those things everybody likes to talk about. Is crime down or up?
I can't speak to plus or minuses. I don't look back at 21 as being anything unique or different than the last few years. You'd want to ask Chad more of the specifics of that, but I don't look back to 21 being a ramp up or a significant increase related to crime. I mean, I think Charleston, you look at the numbers, especially for a college community, we're one of the safest communities in the state of Illinois from a stats perspective, and have been for a long, long time.
Got a few minutes left. We're talking to Scott Smith, Charleston City Manager today. Tristan, final questions or anything on your mind over there?
Yeah, and any maybe takeaways from your job, maybe lessons you've learned throughout COVID, and maybe things that you'll use moving forward? Don't take anything for granted. We joke about we thought we'd be sitting here and we wouldn't have a mask on, and it's great to think forward and be positive, but as this drags on, you just wonder when's it ever going to end. But try to stay positive, I think. Try to look for the positives in all things, and try to do what you can. It's hard during a pandemic like this. It's hard not to get frustrated or
angry or negative, or you go to work and it feels like you can never get ahead. When it's really, really challenging.
Do people complain less or more during the COVID about, say, like, our lights are out, our whatever you want to call it, we don't have enough lighting in our neighborhood or sidewalks, or do they kind of, we know everybody's going through this?
Honestly, I would say less.
That's what I was thinking. It seems like people
less.
are a little nicer to people right now.
Yeah, I think less. And I'll tell you one thing, we talked about this last week, is that we've had a drive-up facility for years. I mean, we put that in the mid-2000s, and people had no idea it was there. Now, we don't have a big canopy. We don't have a big gigantic sign on the side of City Hall saying, drive up here, but a lot of people had no idea.
Yeah.
And so we still had a lot of folks that would park the car, get out, walk in to pay their water bill. One of the real benefits is we've retrained a lot of people that it's okay to do online water bill paying, and they've set up a lot of things that way. They can still pretty much do everything they could before at the drive up with us. I mean, you can pay your rec department, you can pay your water bill, you can drop off a police ticket, you can do all kinds of cool things at the drive up. So we've seen a major uptick in the use of the drive up, which has been great. Not that we don't want to see you, but if you can run through the drive up, especially for older folks that get out of the car, especially in the winter months, that type of thing, we're always worried about somebody
Like
slipping and
Saturday,
falling. Yeah. So that has been a good thing. That's been a positive. But I would say, to your point, I think people have generally been a little bit nicer. That could turn tomorrow, but I think, and I think a lot of, we always used to call City Hall for everything, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's so much capability to file notices with Ameren and do all these things for streetlights. There's so much available as technology changes that a lot of that stuff's moved to an online portal. And so, it's poll number whatever, and I live at such and such address, and it goes on a list, and then when they come around to do their streetlight repairs, it gets picked up. So I don't know. I don't answer the phone every day. Peggy does, but she may tell you, oh, it's the same. But I think, at least from my desk, it's actually a little better.
I think that's a good go. We have about a minute left. Tristan, anything?
That's all I had.
Scott, anything that you want to talk about for the city
No.
of Charleston that we may have forgotten?
No, but thanks for having me.
Oh, it's always great to have you. Hopefully we'll get Dr. Combs back next time. All right, we'll do real quickly 8 questions if we can get them in.
Oh, boy.
They're easy this time. Favorite Christmas present you got?
This year?
Yeah.
Cash.
Cash, I like that.
Love that.
Do you have a
Cash is
pet?
king.
What's its name?
His name is Bentley.
Dog or cat there?
Dog.
Okay. All-time favorite movie?
Caddyshack.
Interesting fact about you that we may not know. That might be the toughest question.
Oh, boy. I don't know, Jeff.
Okay. New Year's resolution? Did you make one?
Lose a little weight.
There you go. Do you consider yourself a good dancer or not?
Decent.
Decent. Oh, that's.
Yeah,
all right.
I grew up at E.L. Crackers. Come on,
This
Jeff.
is true. Good call.
You did too, right?
I didn't dance though.
Oh, come on.
Will it ever snow in Coles County, or are we in this like forbidden snow zone?
I think it will.
All right. Steak or fish if you had to order?
Steak.
All right. That is Scott Smith, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate him coming in.
Thank you.
And we'll hopefully have Dr. Combs back. And again, Tristan, thank you. Last semester, my man.
Yeah, excited. Just one quick thing. Better get this pool clean, sterilized, and disinfected.
There you go. We are WEIU. Everybody have a great day.